This one? Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Welcome to Temple Israel. I'm so delighted that you could be here with us this morning as we celebrate Shabbat together, and of course, as we celebrate Micah Reichman becoming a bar mitzvah. So today is a little bit of a different day, of course, because we are still living in these strange times. So we are so grateful to all of you for continuing to wear your mask throughout the service when family members and Micah are on the bima. Of course, we're going to give him the chance to take it off, but thank you for just keeping us all as safe as possible. Micah has prepared very hard for this day, and so it's exciting to be able to be here together and do this. Also saying welcome back to Rob Aronson. We have not had musicians at B'nai Mitzvah for like 2 years now, so it's nice to actually be back in a place where we can do this again, but I kind of forgot what it feels like, so welcome. Glad you're here as well. So let's do this. We're going to start this morning on page 172, and we'll be joining in the singing of Ma Tovu. You are more than welcome to sing along if you like, or just to listen. We're just glad you're here.
Ma Tovu Ohalecha Yaakov Ohalecha Yaakov Mishkenotecha Yisrael Ma Tovu Ohalecha Yaakov Ohalecha Yaakov
Mishkenotecha
Yisrael
Ani berov chastecha avo veitecha eshtachave elecha l'kodshecha
Ma Tovu Ohalecha Yaakov Ohalecha Yaakov Mishkenotecha Yisrael Ma Tovu Ohalecha Yaakov Ohalecha Yaakov
Mishkenotecha
Yisrael.
So it is now my honor to invite Bar Mitzvah forward to lead us in our service this morning. Yamon Moshe ben Yosef Shoshana Bar Mitzvah.
Shabbat Shalom. Our service begins on page 170 in the Blue Prayer Book. May my life be one link in a chain of goodness. As I say my prayers of my ancestors, help me to recall their devotion and faithfulness, their joy and suffering which are in every word. Holiness is my heritage, may I be worthy of it. May our tradition live in me and pass from me to generations I shall never know, enriched by the truth that I have found and the good deeds I have done. So may I fulfill my task on earth and receive my blessing. And when the service ends and the prayers have ceased, help me to bring their spirit into the world in which I live. May I love God above all and my neighbor as myself, and be a good living witness to the truth that never changes. Please turn to page 195 and rise for the call of worship.
Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, yotzer or, uvoreh Moshe. Oseh shalom, uvoreh et hakol. Ama'ir le'aretz ve'ladirim alecha barachamim uvtuvo mechadesh bekol. Or tamid ma'aseh Vereshit ma'rabu ma'asecha Adonai. Kulam bechochma asita. Malea ha'aretz kin yanecha titbarach Adonai Eloheinu al shevah ma'aseh yedecha ve'al me'oreh or she'asita yafa'aruha se'ala or adash al Sion ha'ir venizke hulanu mehera le'oro baruch atah Adonai yotzer hamaraot. The world is sunlight, restoring the soul, rejoicing the heart, bringing light to the eyes, more welcome than gold, a Torah from heaven. I have no light to give the morning, my Torah, my special human gift, its words. As I bring my words forth from silence, welcome them, you who redeems the sun from darkness. Baruch atah Adonai yotzer hamaraot. We join in the singing of the Shema at the top of page 200.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam va'ed. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Please be seated. V'atafta et Adonai Elohecha b'kol levecha ub'chol nafshecha ub'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinatam levanecha v'dibarta ba'am v'shitecha v'beitecha uv'lechtecha b'derech u'shofecha u'kumecha u'shartam le'ot hayadecha v'hayu letotefot b'neinecha
וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Sing the song of men and women, joined in the understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, and earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children. And the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content. Her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace.
We join in Micha Mocha on page 204.
Yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai lai. Mi chamocha ba'ili matonai, mi chamocha neta b'kodesh, norati lo sefele, norati lo sefele.
שיבחו גאולים לשמך שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו
אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. Yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai lai lai.
Please turn to page 205 and rise for the tefillah.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagita hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor Ha'anora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imavot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, צומח נופלים והופך עולים, ומצהיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בגבורות ומיתו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
You are the door that beckons me in. Peeking around the door frames, I begin to enter your glory. You move me forward O Eternal, to step beyond self-made boundaries. Lift my foot over the threshold that I might abide with you. In the house of the Eternal, I found my question, waiting to be posed. They filled me with wonder. Sit with me, Eternal Teacher. Encourage my seekings. As I fill my hours with your mitzvah, so I shall be filled. Send me through your door, stretching up the honor of your name, sharing out this wonder, enriching myself in the giving.
And we join in Kedusha on page 208.
מקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב היה נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש קדוש קדוש, אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו. אדיר אדירנו אדוני, אדוננו מה אדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו ומלכנו, ומושיענו והוא ישמיענו, רחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון, ודור ודור, הללויה.
לצורך נגיד גדלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך עלינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Please be seated. We take a moment now and we offer a prayer for peace on page 216. Sim shalom tova uvracha, sim shalom, sim shalom, sim shalom, tova uvracha, sim shalom, sim shalom, sim shalom, tova uvracha, sim shalom, sim shalom. Ose shalom bimroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'yakom Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Ose shalom
יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
So a little bit earlier when I invited Micah up to the bima, I shared with you his Hebrew name, which is Moshe or Moses. And that's cool, not only because it's an awesome Hebrew name, but because what Micah is about to do is really follow in the steps of Moshe, of Moses. What Moses is so famous for doing is bringing the Torah to the people. And today, Micah is going to bring the Torah to you. Now, he's not going to do it physically because COVID, we're not quite there, walking around and having everyone touch each other. But he at least is going to symbolically bring the Torah to you by being able to read it for you this morning and then share a little bit of its teachings. But we know that any time that we teach Torah, that it's not just Micah who's teaching us Torah or bringing us Torah. It's really his parents and his grandparents and his great-grandparents all the way back through the chain of tradition. And so symbolically, before he shares his Torah with us, we are going to pass the Torah through the generations of his family. So it's my honor to now invite his siblings, Noah and Julia, to help us take the Torah out of the ark. We'll ask everyone else to please rise, and his family is going to join us right at the front of the bima so we can pass the Torah from generation to generation.
רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו.
You on the other side. No, wait, Mikey, you're close to your mouth. There you go. This is the musical chair section of the Torah passing, but it's important to be able to recognize why they're there, because the truth is that Julia and Noah have been through this. They have received Torah, and so now they stand on the other side, while finally it is baby brothers. We say, Lador Bador Nagid Gadlecha, from generation to generation, we praise God's greatness, and from generation to generation, we pass the teachings of our Torah from grandparents to parents to sons. And we join on page 246 singing Ki Mitzion.
Ki Mitzion Tetzei Torah. Ki Mitzion Tetzei Torah. U'davar Adonai Mirushalayim. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Baruch שנתן תורה לעמו ישראל בקדושתו. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד אלוהינו גדול אדוננו קדוש שמו. לך אדוני הגדולה והגבורה והתפארת והנצח וההוד, כי כל בשמיים ובארץ, כי כל בשמיים ובארץ. לך אדוני הממלכה והמנשה לכל לבוא.
So today, Micah will be reading from Parshat Va'era, and we're going to begin with Torah blessings on page 250.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorah.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. Vayera elav Adonai, ve'elorene memre, vehu yoshev petach, ha'ochel kechom ha'om, vayimsha enav vayar, vehine shelosha anavshim netzavim alav vayar Vayarachot likratem mem petach ha'ohel veyish techu arza. Vayomer Adonai imna matzati pain be'einecha alma ta'avor me'al avdecha yukachna me'at me'yim meratzu raglehem vehisha anu techat ha'etz ve'ekcha vat lechetchem vesadu libechem achat har ta'avoru ki al ken avar tem al avdechem veyomeru ken ta'aseh ka'asher dibarta veyomer her Avraham ha'ochel el Sarah veyomer ma'hari shalosh sesim kamach solet lushi ve'asi ugot ve'el habarkar ratz Avraham ve'yimkach ben Bakar Barach ve'tov rayitain el Hanaar ve'yomer la'asot oto yukachna hama'a v'chalav Uven habakar asher asa veyitain lifnehem vehu omed alehem tachot ha'etz veyom elu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar lanu Torat emet v'natan olam natav betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen.
So as is our tradition, we now invite Josh to lift the Torah. As is not our tradition, we have finally not given him the heaviest Torah we have, just to be nice, third time around.
V'zot haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei b'nei Yisrael al pi Adonai v'yad Moshe. This is the Torah which Moses placed before the people of Israel, God's words to the hands of Moses.
Thank you. You guys get to give him a kiss. I said they had to give you a kiss. It's my fault.
Good job.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nei v'im tovim v'ratza b'nei v'rechem ha'ne'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai Hambocher v'Torah uv Moshe uv Do uv Yisrael amo uvin v'e ha'emet v'tzedek. Ve'isha achat minshe b'nei ha'nevi'im tza'aka el Elisha le'emor avdecha ishi meit ve'arta yadeta ki avadecha ha'yare et Adonai ve'hanoshe ba lakahat et shine Yoladai lo la'avadim. Vayomer Elaha Halisha ma e'eseh lach hagidi li mayash lach babait latomer ein leshif hatecha kol babait ki et achshuch shamen. Vayomer laki sha'avlich lach kelim men chachutz me'et kol shekenech kelim rekim al tam'ito ti uvad vesagarate hadelet ba'adech uvad b'nayih veyatzaketa al kol ha'etlim ha'ele ve'hamale tasi'i va'telach me'oto v'tis gor hadelet ba'ada uvad b'neha hem magishim Elecha Vehi Motzaket. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Sor Kol HaOlamim Tzaddik Bekol Hadorim wrote Ha'el Ha'ne'emet Ha'am Omer Ve'ose Hamdaber Kayim Shekol Devarim Emet Vetzedek Al HaTorah Ve'al Ha'avodah Ve'al HaNevi'im Ve'al Or HaShabbat Azeh Shenatata Lanu Adonai Eloheinu Lidusha Ve'limnucha Lechavod Ultif Aret Al Hakol Adonai Eloheinu Anechanu Modim Lach Verkim Ota Yatma Ba'arach Shimecha Betif Kol Hai Tamid Lach Leolam Va'ed Baruch Atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. He's gotta come home.
You gotta do your speech.
Oh, I have to do my speech first? Oh.
So they can be impressed with you.
Hi, I hope you like my service so far. I'm glad you could be here. It's weird to be the last one in my family to become a bar mitzvah. I can't believe it's my turn, but I'm really excited at the same time. It has been a lot of work. Today, I read from the Torah about a story of Abraham and Sarah, who were the first Jews. Earlier in the Torah, before my portion, God promises Abraham and Sarah that they will have many descendants. But by the time my story takes place, they're super old and still haven't had any children yet. In the beginning of my story, 3 people show up at Abraham's tent in the desert and tell Abraham and Sarah that they will have a baby within a year. We know these aren't just 3 strangers because they know who Abraham and Sarah are. And they know that Sarah will have a baby. They must be acquaintances of God or connected to God in some way, but we don't know exactly who they are. When God talks to the couple separately, he tells Sarah that she's going to have a baby. She replies by asking, "How can that be when my husband is so old?" Afterwards, when God talks to Abraham and tells him about telling Sarah that she will have a baby, God actually changes the story and tells Abraham that Sarah asks, how is it that she could have a baby when she is so old? By God changing the story, he is telling a little white lie. God probably did that because he knew that Abraham's feeling would be hurt if he knew that Sarah was kind of mocking him for being so old. There's a Jewish teaching that comes from this story that says, sometimes you can tell a little white lie that comes for the sake of keeping shalom bayit, or peace of the home. There are times in life when we all tell a little white lie. Sometimes these can be bad lies, like if you were supposed to pay for something and you said you didn't, but actually you didn't. Or there might be times when maybe I'll tell my dad that I'm almost done with a game. It's really just the 4th inning. But just to be clear, I'm not actually confessing to anything just now. Another example would be if I said that I finished my homework, but really I haven't. In those examples, no one really gets hurt from these little white lies, although maybe it isn't the nicest thing to do. But there are examples of little white lies that can actually be good. For example, if I'm covering for someone in a school, for a project for school, if my teammate wasn't finished yet, or their part wasn't, if their part of the work wasn't finished, I could cover for them, and so they don't get in trouble by the teacher. Or like cabin cleanup at camp, someone might mess up and accidentally clean the wrong thing, but we could cover for them and wouldn't send them back to do it again because that would make them feel bad. Another example is when I'm playing baseball. If I ground out or make an error, one of my teammates would tell me to be fine and shake it off, and to get it next time. If they are nice to me instead of just pointing out the obvious, that I made a bad play, I might feel better about myself, and I do a better job with the next play, versus feeling bad about myself and dwelling on it, my mistake causing me to get in my own head. I personally think it's better to be a little dishonest and tell a little white lie if it can make someone feel good overall. This is because maybe it'll be just what they need to do a better job next time. If you are critical to someone, even if they deserve it, I don't think it really makes things better overall. Most people know if they're doing something wrong well, and they don't need you to point it out, especially in front of others. I'm grateful for all the people who helped me here to do my best and give me encouragement. I am very lucky to have many people who are important in my life. Also, I want to thank everyone for helping me get here today. I want to thank Rabbi Amy and Rabbi Michael, who sadly isn't here, for all the help and preparation for today. And to Miss Adele for being a great tutor and putting up with me, my crazy schedule for the past 4 years, at least. Thank you to my mom and dad, who have worked really hard to help me plan this day. And to all of the scheduling needed to get me here, where I needed to be mostly on time. I am really happy they did. Thank you to Noah and Julia for being here, for standing with me and smiling. I'm so glad that you could be here today. I also want to thank all my friends and family who are either watching from home or here at Temple for helping me celebrate this great accomplishment. I feel like I worked really hard to prepare for this today, and it really paid off. I hope you remember after today that you can tell a little light lie as long as you are being kind and helping people feel and do better in the long run.
Thank you, Rabbi Amy, Rabbi Michael, who's hopefully listening, and Rob for today's beautiful ceremony. So here we are celebrating again 4 years later. Wow, time has really flown by. And to think as of Tuesday, October 19th, we have 3 teenagers in the house for at least a little while longer. It seems that someone has hit the fast forward button and there's no slowing down. Of course, we have not aged a bit. And
oh, it's my turn. Sorry. We didn't practice, obviously, as much. Okay, we know this is a moment where many parents list their child's accomplishments or plot a course for their child's life, but we're not going to do that. How can we? But while we have your full attention for hopefully at least the next few minutes, we would like to share with you, our friends and our family, what a special gift Micah is to everyone here today. There are days where you do not like being the baby of the family. You feel as if you're being cheated out of doing things that Noah and Julia get to do. But one day you will definitely appreciate what a special and unique position that you are in. And you will also discover how the rules have slightly changed in your favor over time by getting things at a little bit of an earlier age than your siblings did. But despite being compared to your siblings, especially by those who know them well, we think you are doing a pretty good job of becoming your own person with your own personality. You're forging your own path, and that is definitely non-comparable.
so in the Jewish religion, it's customary to honor someone who has passed and was special in your life when naming your child. And we did this when we chose both your English name, Micah, and your Hebrew name, Moshe. Your brother's English name, Noah, and his Hebrew name, Natan, are in honor of your grandfather, and your sister's Hebrew name, Eliana, is in honor of your great-grandfather. And when you were born, we chose to honor your mom's paternal grandparents, your mom, Melvin and Margaret. When you were born, we told Papa the great news that we were honoring his parents. He was very excited, of course, and flattered that we had just done that, but he had also just come to learn that his father was, in fact, not named Melvin. He was actually named Samuel, but he changed his name to Melvin when he enlisted in the Navy many years ago. And of course, the ink was already dry on the lovely bris certificate that we got from the rabbis, so we just went with the flow and moved on. Little did we know that at that time it was Basheret or destiny. Why are we sharing this with you? Because we think that from the beginning, this reflects who you are. You roll with the punches and you keep charging ahead. You don't sweat the small stuff. You faced many challenges in your 13 years, including preparing for this day, which wasn't easy, especially when working over the past 2 years via Zoom. So, despite each and every challenge, you at least kept a bold face and always told us, "Dad, I got this."
Yeah. Micah, there are so many other ways to describe you. You also have a beautiful smile on your face that is contagious to all of those around you, not right this moment, but you are energetic, curious, courageous, adventurous, athletic, very competitive, but yet always playful, as you never forget to have fun. Your endless enthusiasm, your generous spirit, and your big heart is an inspiration to all of us as you shine on those around you. These qualities define your approach to life and your relationships. You're a very loyal and loving friend and teammate, which is obvious from those who are here today to celebrate. As you spoke about the importance of friendship and protecting those around you with possibly telling some little white lies in your speech today, friends are what help you get through each day and are one of your great joys of life.
You are no longer a child, especially in the eyes of the Jewish tradition. Not that you had any of those doubts, but you're also not yet fully grown. And so our wish for you as you enter adulthood is to always remain a kid at heart. You have a special gift of always being playful and never forget to have fun and live in the moment. Don't sweat the small stuff and leave the bad stuff behind. Always remain curious and hopeful and keep your gift of optimism and curiosity alive. And be confident that you have the ability to rise to the occasion just as you've done today.
Also, always continue to trust your instincts and make good choices. You're very smart, and you seem to find the balance most of the time between what you want to be right versus what you believe to be right. Don't sell yourself short. Be humble and always believe in yourself. In the end, just remember that we love you, that we're so proud of you and who you are today. We've always had your back, and we look forward to watching who you will become and see where the path of life takes you. Our blessing for you is that we wish for you to have an extraordinary life, one with happiness, love, friendship, and success. You can do anything you set your mind to, and just remember to always be yourself. You are the one and only Micah.
You did great.
I should probably take the, we'll just leave them there. Never had a kid so ready to get off the beam. All right, so you're off the beam, but you're not off the hook yet. So a few things, Micah, that I have for you today. First, here's your certificate to prove, should anyone ever doubt you, that indeed today, Micah Daniel, you became a bar mitzvah. We also have just a little gift from the temple to you that we hope you will use on all your festive occasions. And last but not least, you may not know this, but your grandma and I actually colluded a few years ago that we had this plan that for your bar mitzvah and Jonah's bar mitzvah, we were going to take a family trip with your family and our family to go to Israel. Israel is not quite open for bar mitzvah trips yet, so clearly it didn't happen. But we hope at some point it will, maybe not for a bar mitzvah trip, but just for an adventure. And so we have a little gift certificate to get you started, should we be able to do that in the future, which would still be fabulous. So Rabbi Michael is a little under the weather today. It's not COVID, don't worry. But I did say that I would share his remarks, at least briefly, with you, which is he wanted to remind you that he, like you, is a Moshe, even though he's Michael and you're Micah, and that Moshe is a difficult name to live up to, because Moshe is the leader of the people, but he's also a leader that no one expected to be the leader. Also, like you, Moses had an older brother and an older sister who also never really expected him to be a leader, but in the end, he was the one. He was the one who ended up figuring out how everyone, not just his siblings, but his entire family, could find some sort of bright future together. So, Micah, Moshe, you have it in you. We know you can do it. But it's funny, that your parents your parents talked about this idea that there is no one like you. And actually what Micah means is, who is like you? Because really, there is no one who is quite like Micah. And you know, when I think about your Devar Torah, your speech that you offer to us today, part of why I wanted to teach you that story about the little white lies is because that's not the kind of teaching that you would give someone when they're a little kid. And I've known you your whole life, so that is not something that you could have handled when you were 5 or when you were 8 or even 10, because the idea of sort of that gray area of morality, right? Like sometimes you don't tell the truth. That is not something that you can really handle until you were 13 years old. And you were able to understand it beautifully, except here's the one thing that you struggled with. You struggled with trying to find examples of a time in your own life when you weren't honest or you weren't kind. And that's because the truth is you are. You are always honest and you are always kind. And really your examples all had to do with just ways that you can make sure that the people around you, your friends and your family, that they always felt supported and loved by you. And that is just so much of who you are. One last thing to share. I want to let you all know that Micah did not really want you here today because he was so nervous about how he would do today, and he thought, oh my gosh, and my friends and my family are there, how am I going to be able to pull it off? And I just want to say, you were awesome. You were awesome. And everyone here, they're going to text you later. I know you don't have your phone on you now, but they're going to text you and they're going to tell you how amazing you were because you really rose to this challenge. And I know how hard you worked, and I know that it wasn't easy for you, but I'm so glad that all these friends and family could be here and all of our friends watching from home because you really showed that you can accomplish anything. So the last thing I'm going to do is give you a little blessing. And for this, you are allowed to remain at your seat, but I'm going to ask everyone to please rise for this. Including you. So this is a blessing that we give in Judaism on all of our sacred occasions. And Rabbi Michael and I got to give it to your brother and sister at their B'nai Mitzvah. And because of COVID, we're going to let you stay in your seat so that we're not actually placing hands on you. But I'm going to ask everyone, since you're all here, to participate with me. So what I'm going to have you do is take your hands. You can make this little sign if you want to. It's not really Vulcan, it's from the Torah, but still, you can do it just the same if you want to. And we're sort of going to put our hands so that they're facing our bar mitzvah. You don't have to do it because we're blessing you, but you can. It's cool if you want to. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichunecha. May God's light shine upon you, and may God be gracious to you. May God's countenance be lifted over you. May it be granted with wholeness and with peace. Micah, you did it. Mazel tov. And so we'll ask everyone to just remain standing, and I'm going to return the Torah to the ark.
Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, ha'olam omed. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, ha'olam omed. Al Torah ve'al avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim. Al Torah ve'al avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim.
And we continue on the bottom of page 282 with the words of the Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. on the bottom of page 287. V'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz
Bayom hahu
yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. So Micah, as your father shared, we have this tradition in Judaism of naming people after those we've lost, and it's just another way of remembering the people who we wish could be here on all our sacred occasions. And so before we say the Mourner's Kaddish in particular, we're thinking of those members of your family who couldn't be here with us today, of Samuel Goldstein, of Margaret and Melvin Jones, of Shirley Kleinman, of Nathan Reichman, and of Jackie Flatman. We're thinking of those members of your family and thinking of all those who we've lost. We join now together in the words of the Mourner's Kaddish on page 294. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah v'alma divrach yeruteh v'yamlich malchuteh v'chayachon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael v'agala uvizman kariv v'emru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach la'alam olmei almayim yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudesha barichu la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata la'amiran ba'alma v'emru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'emru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'emru amen. The source of peace and peace to all who mourn and comfort all who are bereaved. And we say, Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael ve'immeru amen. Well, Micah, my friend, you have officially done it. So before we can celebrate, we have a few last blessings just so that you'll be able to eat and drink. So to be able to do our Kiddush and Motzi, we're inviting Julia and Noah and the cousins also. Not just Julia and Noah. Yes, Julia and Noah and the cousins. Come on up. The cousins, you know who you are. All right, so first this.
I drink it.
Okay. All right, Julia, you want to wrap it up?
Yep.
Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
I'll do it. Beautiful. All right, so my friends, we are going to sing you out the door. Shabbat shalom and Micah.
Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, my pedal wasn't working for Monto Boo. It's like, yeah, gotta get the wiggles out.